get in there. I want no bullshit. You stay on my 6 at all times.
Stay sharp, these f***ers are nasty and dangerous. Stay alert!
Oh man, what a cool show, right? I'm really interested in seeing where this goes. Except for one problem. It's not real. This is an AI-generated video using Google Veo 3. Ladies and gentlemen and everything in between, my name is Matt Paradoxician. I have a degree in computer science, and I hate AI. Okay, that was a loaded statement, but bear with me. I don't like AI as it is now. I think that we've been creating it without purpose, and it's getting to a point where we're evolving too quickly to keep up with what we're actually making. Take that first clip, for example. We watched a whole sequence that I actually cut short of a SWAT team raiding a building. That's very cool, granted, but this technology is insane. I mean, it's getting to the point where you can barely tell. The only things I really noticed with this video that made me say, okay, this is AI, were the facial expressions were a little bit off, and some of the physics, like the car moving and some of that stuff, was still a little bit iffy, but it's getting very close to looking real. And in the age that we live in, where information and misinformation spread so quickly, that's just one concern that myself and many others have about this technology being freely available. I remember it was back around finals season in 2021 when I was talking to my roommate Nick at the time, and he had found this interesting website called the OpenAI Playground. Now obviously at this point we've all heard that name. OpenAI is huge. They made ChatGPT, but at the time they weren't quite as big. Rather than the sort of chat room style format of talking to AI that we have now, at the time the OpenAI Playground was basically just a big box to prompt it to respond to you. There were no follow-ups, it was not a continued conversation, it was just a question and an answer, but that didn't make it unimpressive. As Nick and I were experimenting with it, we started to realize that this thing was accurate, deadly so. And of course we made it do some stupid stuff, but I mean, we were in college, can you blame us? But that's not important. The fact is we were so impressed by its capabilities, we weren't even really thinking about how it was capable of it. See, AI as we know it today isn't actually AI. There's nothing intelligent about it. It's not thinking. It's just machine learning algorithms with a pretty face. Although it may seem like you're talking to a real person at times, the way these things actually work is just by taking the data the model is trained on and outputting what is statistically considered the best response. Now obviously with different models the process can vary. Google Veo is going to be a lot more complex than something like ChatGPT or DeepSeek, which just respond with text. But even still, it all boils down to the data. Which begs the question of where does this data come from? And a lot of companies have already found themselves in hot water over this topic because it's either scraped from the internet without a lot of filtration, or it's taken directly from their users without their users' knowledge and consent. Let's explore a hypothetical. Let's say that you are a struggling artist. The medium isn't super important. It could be visual arts, it could be music, it could be anything. Now let's say that you've created your masterpiece, your magnum opus. You're excited to share this piece with the world, and you have a hard time doing so because despite the ability to share everything in this world so easily, it's almost counterproductive because of just how easy it is. You almost get lost in the sound. Until one day, you come across something that has been AI generated and has pieces of your work in it. Now, I'm not talking about some kind of inspiration piece. I'm talking about they took a piece of your music or your image to make their own, just directly without asking. Now let's take the hypothetical out of the situation. This is an actual thing that is happening to actual artists right now, everywhere. Normally these kinds of issues are prevented by copyright law, but US copyright law as of now just says that if it's not fully AI generated, you can still copyright it. And the UK is actually looking to make exceptions for AI generated material. Inevitably, this has led to massive public outcry. Nobody wants their creativity taken from them, and most would agree that it shouldn't be. But here we are. Now the last major issue that I'm going to touch on today, although certainly not the only issue left when it comes to AI, is probably the most important. Misinformation is already a serious issue in the digital age as is, and that's before AI even came into play. Now that AI is involved, it's become much easier to create widespread misinformation and, even worse, misrepresentation. Now misinformation is nothing new. We've experienced misinformation even before AI, but it's a lot easier for AI to make up mass amounts of bull and spread it. Whereas misrepresentation is what really concerns me, because it can make people do things that they didn't actually do. One example of this that I've seen really recently actually was at the Met Gala this year. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not invested in celebrity culture like that, but I did find it incredibly concerning to hear that Billie Eilish was getting judged for an outfit that she didn't even wear. She wasn't at the Met Gala this year. This was fully an AI generated image, and she had to come out and make a statement to say that this isn't me. And yet, all things considered, this is a pretty mild instance of this kind of thing happening. Unfortunately, bad actors on the internet have been using AI to manipulate images and even videos in ways that probably aren't even appropriate to speak about on YouTube for quite some time. I guess if there was one key takeaway from this video, it wouldn't be that AI is evil or bad or that I hate it. It would be that we should be concerned. AI is an incredibly powerful tool and only getting more so by the day. That OpenAI playground I talked about back in the beginning of this video was only created in 2021. That's not that old, and AI is evolving quickly, so my suggestion would be that we keep on top of AI policy and make sure that we're creating AI for good reason. Certain uses I understand. ChatGPT is a really cool personal assistant at the end of the day, and there's a lot of places that use AI now as a means of detecting issues before they even happen. But something like Google Veo 3 is where I kind of draw the line. What is the use case for something like that? Because from what I can see, it seems like a net negative, and honestly, it's creepy. At the end of the day, it's creepy. But hey, that's just my thoughts. I have a lot more of them, and I could make this a much longer video, but I'm not trying to be like old man yells at cloud all day. So if you enjoyed this video, I would love it if you left a like, even more so if you decided to subscribe, stick around. I've got a Discord server you can join in the description below, but otherwise, I'll see you next time.